Hey everyone, it's Sarah, and today I want to take you through a video of a dog attack. Now I want to give you a heads up, this video in particular is a little bit difficult to watch. There's no blood or gore or anything like that, but it is extremely sensitive content. The reason that I'm doing this video is actually to help prepare you in the event that you are ever the victim of a dog attack, and also to give you some information about dogs and their behavior when they are attacking so that you can hopefully help prevent situations as well. Now this came to mind because a friend of mine that is a big fan of John Correa's, who is the host to the YouTube channel Active Self-Protection, watches his videos, and one of them involved a dog attack. And John Correa does a really good job of talking about self-defense, and he uses this video to demonstrate to people how you can defend yourself against an attack like this, which is awesome. So I will put a link to his video in the description below if you'd like to watch that as well. But for this video, I'm going to focus a little bit more about on the reasons why dogs are exhibiting these behaviors, what you can do during the attack as well. I'll add on to some of that also, and then talk to you a bit about prevention and why things like this are happening. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the video first. It's only about a 50-second clip, so everybody can watch it all at the same time, and then we're going to go back and I will pause it and kind of dissect it a little bit to give you some indication of what's going on, why this might happen, and what you can do if you're ever in this situation as well. Before we get started, please let me know if you like this type of video by hitting that like button. You can go ahead and hit subscribe and ring that bell to receive notifications when I release more content just like this. Let's get right onto the video and see what's going on here. So there you have it. Really scary situation to be in, especially with a child who's fairly defenseless for the most part. So I just want to walk you through this video, kind of give you an idea of what happened. Now, before we get started, you'll notice this is a fairly large-sized dog. As a canine behavior consultant, I want to really emphasize the fact that the reason that this attack happened has absolutely nothing to do with the type of dog that this is. So if you're into breed-specific legislation, or you have the opinion that specific breeds are more likely to attack, I kindly remind you that that is false information, and I'm not interested in breed-specific legislative debate over this video in particular. This is more about behavior and why these things happen, so please don't at me with any of that breed-specific stuff. There's no place here. Okay, so as we get going here, I'm just going to play this video for you. You'll notice that the dog is already at a quick gait running down the street when it appears. The other thing I want to point out too here is that the dad is kind of looking around in the parking lot. You don't see the family enter the equation just yet, but let's already go ahead and address prevention. So prevention for attacks is key, and we're going to talk about prevention from the owner's side, but also from this family's side as well. One of the best things that you can always do, no matter what, whether it's against a dog attack or a mugging or a kidnapping or anything, is be very aware of your surroundings. Hindsight is always 20/20. These people are in a church parking lot, they're coming away from a social event, so chances are they're really kind of engaged in everything that has been going on, not what is currently going on. But it's just a good reminder that every second in a situation like this counts. So be vigilant, just be aware of your surroundings when you're pumping gas, when you're walking to your car. It's just a really good practice to have and habit. So if you have an extra few seconds because you see something coming, then that can help out. You can see here, by the time the dog gets to the little girl, we have about 10 seconds of time from when the dog appears around the corner of the tree to the time it actually grabs a hold of that girl. Not a lot of time, but it's about 5 more seconds than this dad had initially. Now, in this instance, when a dog has already bitten and has a hold of, the last thing that you want to do is pull away. Because when you pull away, that's where you're going to have that tearing of the flesh, and you don't want to do that. It's much better to push in, or to have the person that's holding the child in this instance stay still, because you don't want that ripping and that tearing, especially if they land a bite somewhere else. Had he missed her arm and hit her neck, then that could have been a fatal attack, essentially. So it's really good in this situation that he didn't land that, but you never rip the person away or pull the person away. You can see here the dad jumps in, the little girl's on the ground, and mom does a good job of trying to hold on to the little girl while the dad gets a hold of the dog. But you can see here that the dog is very strong and it's hard. Now we've got a couple of bystanders that jump in, which is great to help. This is the moment here where you can see all these people coming around that I would immediately try to chokehold this dog. So if this dog has a hold of this little girl and is not letting go, I'm gonna wrap myself around the backside of the animal completely to where I have a lot more control, and I can slide my arm up and around their neck, because there is that space in between there that you can get, and just chokehold this dog and hold on until it lets go. When it starts having difficulty breathing, it's going to relax its jaw and it's going to let go. Again, we don't want to pull the dog off. We don't want to pull the girl away. We want to hold and essentially choke this dog out. So now you can see here too, dad's digging in his pocket. He's fishing around for something, which brings up personal protection. He's actually fishing around for a pocket knife, and it's a fold-up pocket knife, because I did get a little bit of information with this video. And the thing about having a fold-up pocket knife, you can see here in the video, he only has one hand. So he has one hand on the dog, trying to maintain control of the dog or get control of the dog. And the other hand is fishing in his pocket for his pocket knife. Not only does he have to fish for that knife, then he has to get it out, and then he has to unfold it with one hand. So if you're gonna carry a weapon with you, carry something that's easy to flip open and access. So in this sense, if you carried a knife, something that you just have to unsheath rather than flipping open. Sprays are also good too. You can carry a mace or a pepper spray. They do have dog-specific sprays as well, but just be careful in a situation like this. Obviously, you can spray into the eyes of other people. I will say though, that if I have the opportunity to use a spray and I'm going to get spray into the face of the little girl to get the dog off, that might be a risk that I have to take based on the wind direction and such, but I'd much rather get that dog off with the spray and have some of that go into the eyes of the child than to have a fatal incident potentially. So carry something like that. Some people conceal carry. Just make sure that you always have something on your person that can help you in the event of an attack, whether it's a dog or a person. So dad fishes this pocket knife out, and you'll see eventually that's where he throws kind of his first jab and stabs the dog, and that's where the dog releases. Now, dad does a good job here. He stays honed in on the dog while the mom focuses on the child, gets the child up and out of the situation, which is great. You definitely want to pay attention to an animal after an attack like that, because there is a high likelihood that they will remain in that kind of mode and go back in again. So it's good that dad stayed vigilant here, and it's also good that mom started to get the child out of the picture so she at least would not be a target again. Now, I will say, obviously your first instinct is just to get out of the way, but in this case, if you can, put something else in between you and the attacker as well. So here we have a couple of cars in the parking lot. I would definitely recommend getting behind a car, behind a vehicle, while the other people are handling the situation with the dog. So all in all, this group of people really did the best they could to get this animal away from, out of the situation and to protect the child. And again, she sustained some fairly terrible injuries, but she is okay now, and things are fine. I do believe that this animal was destroyed after this, which I'm not opposed to. But I will tell you that I don't blame animals for things like this. Animals do animal things. Dogs do dog things, not human things. And they don't necessarily differentiate. This is an unprovoked incident. This little girl didn't do anything to the dog, obviously, to provoke an attack. And there are many different reasons as to why this could occur, but all of those reasons boil down to one thing, and that's irresponsible dog ownership. This dog is not getting the enrichment it needs, the exercise it needs. I'm making an educated guess here and saying that it's probably an intact male dog that hasn't been neutered, does not have good boundaries, does not have good guidelines, does not have good leadership from the people that are in its life. And that creates, it's like the perfect storm. All of these things together, not providing the needs for this dog in particular, creates really poor behaviors. And then the dog has the opportunity to self-reinforce those poor behaviors, and they continue to repeat those behaviors. It's very simple behavior shaping for the most part. So of course, I don't blame the animal for this. This is not some crazy psycho monster animal killer that's out there running around just looking for its next target. This is a severe case of neglect in not providing the needs that this particular animal has. So in doing that, we really do a disservice to these animals. And not only do we do a disservice to them, we create a dangerous situation just like in this episode here. Now, I also want to point out that this is a very rare occurrence. It's very unusual for an animal just to be running down the road and just to run up and attack someone. This is a tiny portion of the population of animal attacks that happen. Typically, an animal attack happens with somebody that is known, a family member, a friend, someone in the neighborhood. That's way more typical of a case. This is like I said, this is very rare. It's a very strange occurrence for the most part. So I don't want to drive any fear into you thinking that you could just be walking down the road and all of a sudden the dog attacks out of nowhere. It's an odd occurrence. However, it's good to be prepared for something like this in any event. Again, with carrying some personal protection with you, staying vigilant to your surroundings, because not only dogs are a threat, but there are people out there that are a threat too. So again, from a behavior perspective, for the most part, I completely blame the owner of this dog 100% hands down. This is something that could be prevented on the part of the owner. Is this something that could have been prevented from these people? Not in this situation. Unfortunately, there's just not enough time to prevent what's about to go down. Dad might have been able to buy a couple of more seconds, but chances are this dog was going to land that bite. Everything that they did once that bite was landed is what saved the life of this little girl. And again, the only thing that I would add to it is, because it takes a while to get that knife out and get it unfolded, I would body wrap that dog immediately and try to choke it out. You can also try to put something in between the jaws to pry it open. If you have something like a big stick, that's another thing that you can do in the event that you don't have something on you. Often dog kennels and veterinary hospitals have what we call break sticks, and it really is just a stick that you can slide into the jaws to open the jaws for release. Another thing that you can do too, in the event that the person that the dog is attacking is on the ground, or the dog is attacking another dog, is to just grab a hold of both back legs and yank straight up. You essentially want to do anything that you can to get the dog to release without coming for you. So be sure to avoid putting your hands near the face, near the teeth, using your hands to pry open, around the head, around the neck, and avoid collar grabs altogether. Try to be to the back side of the animal, with the exception again of the chokehold. So I hope that you found some value in this video and that you learned a little bit something in regard to how to kind of prevent something like this from happening. Again, this is completely on the owner of the dog as far as responsibility is concerned. And I think overall these people did a good job to, with the few seconds they had, to get this child away from the dog and the dog off of the child. If you have any questions whatsoever about this video, or in particular how to respond to behavior like this and how to prevent behavior like this, please feel free to pop those questions in the comments below and I will try to address those as best as possible. Don't hesitate to pop over to John Correia's website as well, or rather YouTube channel. Again, that's Active Self-Protection. He does this video also, but more from the human perspective of things as far as personal self-protection from attacks in general. Please remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe, and ring the bell if you want to receive notification when I release more content just like it. Lastly, if you have a video that you'd like to submit to me to understand what's going on or why a specific behavior is occurring, like a dog attack, you can submit those videos to me as well at my website, and that's just sarahandrako.com/analysis. Again, sarahandrako.com/analysis. I'll take a look at those, read the behavior from the animals, the surroundings, and try to give you a good idea as to what's going on and why and what you can do about it. Thanks so much for watching.